time, this is when the WWF was at its peak popularity in the Attitude Era. Shane McMahon has always had this fascination with mixed martial arts, and he at one point tried to convince his father to buy UFC, and Vince never did it. And now you see this play out 20 years later, where Vince probably should have listened to his son. So Shane kind of has always had an idea for incorporating mixed martial arts into what WWE does. So I'm thinking that this is more his idea than Vince's idea or anybody else in the company. So I'm willing to see where it goes. I think it's got potential, but it has to be done the right way. Dan, how do you feel about that?
You know what? I 100% agree in terms of, that the 3 hours is a lot to go through. I have 2 TVs set up, thank God, so I have some sort of sporting event usually on at the same time, so I'm able to, if something's boring me or not intriguing me, I could kind of shift my attention. So the 3 hours doesn't bother me as much, but I know that's something that gets people. And I think this different setting, different atmosphere, different rules type of situation, like you said, new faces or people that aren't really doing much on the main roster, they could kind of go there and, have one of these matches or whatever they're going to be there. I think it's a great opportunity. Like you said, it's different. They're trying something new. Everybody wants something new out of WWE. They always say it's the same old stuff. So they're trying something new. They're doing what you want. Give it a chance. That's how I see it. And like you said, I've definitely heard that stuff about Shane McMahon, very much into the MMA scene, and that's definitely what it seemed like, a Fight Club type atmosphere. So I'm interested, and I'm hoping it helps in terms of viewership, and it helps in terms of getting new faces over. Like you said, bringing people up from the Performance Center and kind of getting them some TV exposure. So I have high hopes for it. I don't know how long it's going to last. I don't know if it's going to be like some of the things that WWE's done, like the wild card rule, or, they just did a few weeks ago or a couple months ago where you could go to another show with up to 4 times, and that kind of came and went. So, there's things that they do that. I'm hoping this is not the same situation. And like you said, I'm just going to kind of go along for the ride and hope for the best and enjoy what they put out there.
Yeah, and Joe, I don't know if you saw Raw Talk, but Dolph Ziggler invited R-Truth to the Raw Underground, which is pretty funny. Will we see Brock Lesnar on Raw Underground, and will we ever see Brock versus Lashley in any sort of shape or matter? And also, where do you think WWE's going with this whole rioter, angle where we saw the technical difficulties weren't because of a storm, they were because some people took out a power box? And who do you think might be the leader of that group? Is that something we see like a cult-like thing with Aleister Black or something, or is that, is it going to be a no-name or some veteran we forgot about? Where do you think they're going to go with that? Or do they even know right now? Is it just going to be, a bunch of guys in masks and they'll just figure it out at some point?
That's interesting. So obviously there were power and technical difficulties yesterday. We also saw Montez Ford get poisoned, right? That didn't really have a conclusion either. And there was one more thing that happened during the course of the show the transformer outside or whatever they threw that exploded, right? So to me, I think it's going to be 2 options. There's a group that you forgot about who's already existing on Raw, that being Ricochet, Cedric Alexander, and Mustafa Ali. Or it's going to be the Undisputed Era, which I hope so, because I'm a fan of them. I know Nick's not really a fan of them. Dan, how do you feel about that?
Well, funny you should say that, because I don't know if you saw WWE Twitter released that that group is calling themselves Retribution. So I don't think it's going to be Undisputed Era. I wish it was. I think they are saving their call-up for fans because they want that Bebe in front of everybody, which will be an awesome moment. But Retribution, I don't know. It kind of seems like it could be people who were fired recently, or it could be, I don't know, maybe people that are, just like secondary or not even that type of player on the main roster, where kind of just leftovers, like a Mustafa Ali who's kind of been overlooked. Maybe a group of people like that. I don't know. I thought it was going to be this MVP Hurt Business stable, but taken to another level in terms of getting a couple new members and them, something crazy on TV. Because I think they did say something yesterday, like they didn't want to be construed as political, but I don't know. There was a lot of rumors going on yesterday about Raw. But yeah, I honestly have no idea, especially now that I'm seeing this Retribution thing. It seems like it's going to be a completely new faction, I'm guessing. So I don't really know who's going to be involved with it.
I just really like that R-Truth calls Ricochet Richard Shea. I think he should maybe take that persona. Might be really good. It's kind of like when Chavo Guerrero was like Kerwin White or something, and he was like a golf caddy. I think that'd be really funny. But I hope, Joe, it's just a bunch of NXT guys. Maybe there's like a leader. Because I always said WWE does a really poor job with factions on the main roster in the sense that they don't do them enough. Because every time they put a big faction together, it seems to work. You got the Shield, Nexus, Evolution. If you took like a guy like The Miz, Joe, and said, here, you're going to take these 3 or 4 NXT guys and be their leader, he's going to get them all over. I mean, he did it with Sandow. He did it with Alex Riley. He did it with Axel and Bo Dallas. So why don't they, try to do those type of things? Or is it just that they find themselves having too much difficulty booking those factions for the long haul?
Yeah, I think that's part of it. But I do think over the course of the past couple of months, you're seeing factions come back. And every single high point, I think, in the history of WWE has always had factions or groups fighting it out with each other, right? It happened in the Attitude Era with the Nation of Domination and DX. Then it was the Corporation. Then it was the Ministry of Darkness. Then DX came back, right? And then you saw Evolution was popular. When WWE was at a low point, the Nexus was that peak of that brief period of time. We saw that kind of diverge a little bit. They made a couple of groups that revived CM Punk's career, and then he became big. Then the Shield came back, right? So you're 100% right. And I think AJ Styles and the club, they absolutely dropped the ball on them because of their Japan connections and not really incorporating Finn Balor. It would have been a really good idea to have those guys together, and it just never materialized. So I'm always a fan of it. I think they are trying to do it more. Dan, how do you feel about that too?
Yeah, I'm definitely a big fan of the faction part of things. I think it's always great to have new faces mixed together, involved on TV, like you said, Evolution, Nexus, DX, NWO. It's always fun when there are faction wars going on. Even AEW. You can see there are a lot of factions there. I really enjoy that they do that there as well. So I'm hoping this is not like the hacker angle though, and it's kind of they kind of stick with it because they drop that like a bad habit. Unless maybe it's tied in, I don't know. But yeah, as long as they give it time, like we know, as we said a bunch of times already now that we're talking, the fans aren't always going to be happy, especially online, and it's going to be voiced. So even last night I was seeing, why didn't they reveal who it was? I'm thinking, what happened to slow burns and letting things play out on TV? So I'm hoping for the best. I could see NXT guys with maybe a WWE wrestler that's a leader kind of like take the charge, but definitely love the faction stuff. And I think just it's a change of pace. It's something new. So that automatically piques my interest.
Yeah, they should just call Velveteen Dream and let him lead it and put him with Ryback. I think that would be great to see. But we appreciate having Dan here. Dan, what we usually do is we give our guests the last word here. So any topic you want, go ahead. The microphone is all yours.
I just want to thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it. Always like talking to you. So, again, thanks once again. And hopefully, let me on soon. I love talk wrestling. I love talk baseball, sports in general. So always a pleasure. And definitely, if you ever want to connect again, I'd love to be on.
All right. Thank you very much, Dan. For Joe Calabrese and Dan Federico, I'm Nick Durst, and this has been Right.